Okay, everybody. So this is a great site that I use a lot for Cinema 4D. It's called GrayscaleGorilla.com, and the guy that runs it's named Nick Vegas, and that's his screen name anyway. We don't know his real name, but anyway, he's been creating applications for Cinema 4D plugins. He's also a motion graphics designer. And really, he creates iPhone apps. He does all kinds of stuff based on motion graphics, and is really smart guy and does really great tutorials. So if you want to do further reading and different tutorials, definitely check him out. The other thing that he has is this site called Real Roulette, and this is a site where motion graphic designers can post their reels. And a reel is just simply a portfolio of motion graphic videos. So it's like a 2 to 3 minutes, maybe tops, of a bunch of different things that people have done in motion graphics. It's a way that you can promote yourself as a 3D designer, 3D animator, motion graphics designer. One thing is, like in the top 20 reels, let's say, for example, when you look at all of these, each person has their name sort of logo, okay, in some sort of moving capacity. And these are all really good to look at, just different ways that people are thinking about moving type, moving text. And I encourage you to go and check this out and explore through this site. Here's a good example of one. Now this is probably not going to load very quickly, but here we can see an image. Obviously a three-dimensional text and type that has been lighted, animated, has motion as we move through. I wonder if we can get a little sampling of this. Let's just see if this is even going to run. I'm on a wireless right now, so I don't think it's going to. All right, there's a little bit of something. Okay, good. So these are really quick. Let's just go back to the beginning again. You can just see, here's a very quick, couple-second logo that introduces the piece using some moving text and type. Okay, so that's essentially what we're going to do for this first project. It has to be 5 to 10 seconds long. It should have some sort of logo based on your name and other symbols that you may want. And it can include objects and abstract elements, but it should be lit and textured in a very interesting way. Okay, so check out more of those. If you go to GrayscaleGorilla.com, and if you just click on down where it says Real Roulette, you can find that. All right, let's talk about the basics of what we're going to be doing today. So what we can do to create three-dimensional text is under the spline tool, you'll notice that there's one called text. All right, and if you just click on that, it'll just pop in a generic word text. Okay, and in order for us to make this into a three-dimensional object and to make it our own object, we can first go down to the object properties in the attributes manager. And the first window that you see here is just where we can fill in what we want it to say. All right, so I can type my name in here, and let's not capitalize that one. And then I hit return, and oops, don't hit return, and just click out of it, and you'll see that it changes that type into what I've typed into the form. All right, so there's my name, and you can move along. Why are we running so slow today? Oh, because I'm on the shared drive. We're going to close out of this. There we go. All right, so there's my name, and you can see that I have the spline inspect. Now this is just a spline, all right? So if I render it out, it's not going to have any depth. You're not going to see anything until we extrude it, okay? And the way that we extrude it then is by grabbing the extrude NURBS, which is under the NURBS palette. Extrude NURBS, okay? And then we take the text and we drop that into the extrude NURBS, all right? Now here's the important thing. Right now, let's take that back out again, just so you can see. So the text, you'll notice that it's written along the Y and the X plane, okay? So we need to pull it out, we need to extrude it out along the Z plane. Okay, does that make sense? So I've written it along the X and the Y. You can see it from the front view very clearly. You can't see it from the top or from the right because it's a thin line. So we need to go down and extrude it out along the Z plane. So when we go to the extrude NURBS, if you click on that, you see where it says movement. All right, we have the first one is X, the second one is Y, and the third one is Z. I wish they would write that on there so everyone would know better, but that's what it is. So right now I have 20 inches. It's going to move, it's going to extrude outward 20 inches along the Z plane. That's exactly what I want. Actually, I want to make it a little bit more. I'm going to make it 50, and then I'm going to drop my text right onto the extrude NURBS, and voila, there I have three-dimensional text. All right. Now, there are many things that you can do to this. All right. So you can change the font, for example. Right now, it's on the default font, which is Helvetica. You can change this into anything interesting that you might think could be fun, like a calligraphy one, maybe. All right, and there you go. That's really fancy. I don't think that really suits my personality, but you know, you can change it to any sort of font that you want. The other thing is that you can use the type tool for different types of objects. All right, so for example, wingdings. Anyone know what that is? Anyone ever used that? All right, if you click on this, you'll see what happens here. It turns my name into a bunch of weird symbols. All right, so let's see. I think I have. Oh no, I don't. Let's see. I have one here. Here we go. Here's one that there's a bunch of different text options that you can use. This is one that is, what's this one called? Type embellishments. So here's another one, and you notice when you render this out, it's like all kinds of weird filigree and stuff like that. Okay, so there's other ways that you could use objects and elements of type within by using different, just simply grabbing a different font to use. So that's a possibility. All right, the other thing that we can do is obviously you can change, if we go to the Objects Manager, we can change the height. So it's 200 now. I could make it 400 if I wanted to, and that make it much bigger. You can change the horizontal spacing. Let's just shrink this down again. You can change the horizontal spacing. So right now it's 0, but you could definitely make it 50 to make it wider. And those things can be animated. We don't have a vertical spacing, but that's something that you can do. You can separate the letters, and if you do that, then when you make this editable, each individual letter will be separate, so that way you could apply, you could have one of your letters, let's say, shrink and grow or something like that, or you could change it in different ways, so that's a possibility. So all of those things are possible. Now, if we take the extrude NURBS then, and if we make it editable, now this becomes a polygon object, and if I wanted to, I could zoom in and grab a section of these elements. All right. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention too, let's just go back a few steps and before it's editable. On the extrude NURBS, you can play with the caps too. All right. So the caps, the start one is going to be the face. All right. So you can add a fillet to it. You can control the radius and the amount of steps and those other elements so that you can make it have that sort of quality. So there's the fillet cap that you can do. You can also choose the fillet type. So right now it's convex. You can do concave, which is a possibility. You can do, let's see what else is there. Oh, engraved is kind of nice. It makes like an edge along the border with an interior, so that's a possibility. So there's lots of different ways that you can control the actual text and type itself. So that's what we're going to be working on with text. What I'd like you to do first is just to start by playing around with your name or elements of your name with the type and think about the design and maybe some other elements that you want to bring to it. In the next class, we're going to talk about animation, how to make these things start to move and create environments that exist within. Okay?